All right. Welcome back. This is Walking in the Fog, Walking in the Favor of God. And this is a special episode, I think, that we have today that we're going to present here. And we have a special guest. And well, we got two guests, actually, technically. We want to get technical about it. But so there's a new episode that we're. I'll add that in. I'll edit the little golf clap bit. Yeah, normally when we host these, we have like one guest every 3 months. Well, now we got two guests, so we're good for the next 6 months. Yeah. So we got a couple guests with us here, and we're just gonna get into it. I'm gonna hand it off to Blake. This was kind of originally started with Blake's idea, and it just kind of snowballed into where we're at here. And yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to Blake.
All right. Well, hello, I'm Blake Gibson. And been going to this church my whole life. I've never known really a different church. Our church has a rich, deep history that I'm honestly very proud of. It's a lot of my greats and my ancestors, and it's great to have that tradition to be a part of. Mm-hmm. Something that's always been around while I've been here is Frank. I mean, every Sunday, every Wednesday, Frank Allen's up there.
Yeah.
And this is Frank Jr. here with me. Frank, do you care to go into a little bit about yourself and how long you've gone here and all that?
I've been an elder here for, since I was 21 years old. So that's over 60 years. So I served in the office here, and my grandfather was a founder of this church. And my mom and dad came here, and my grandfather on my dad's side, but he was an officer at this church, and him and his wife came here, and pretty much from the very beginning. So, but me myself, I'm just a brave person here. I've enjoyed myself all my life. Church has always been the biggest part of my life, really, here at Bancroft. Mm-hmm. Started out here in Bancroft. Was born here in Bancroft. Born down here on the side of the hill. There's houses not even there anymore. But Brian, your great grandparents lived there, and lived right the house right beside where I was born. I was born at home in 1943, September 4th, 1943, and lived there. We lived there for a short time. The reason I was born there was because my dad was in the service at the time. He was overseas, and Mom was staying with her mom and dad and was living there. And also, my Aunt Sybil was living there. So most of the family was living there. That's how you done things back in those days.
Yeah.
But, so then we moved to Eleanor when I was 8 years old, and lived there until I got married. I was 21 when I got married. So then I lived in Nitro, and then we lived in Winfield. So I've been around a little bit. Went to school in Buffalo, but not a polka dot.
Won't hold that against you too much.
Yeah, it's true. I always wanted to be. That's when I grew up. It was going to be a polka dot. Mm-hmm. They zoned it whenever I started high school. They said everything below Winfield Bridge had to go to Buffalo. Yeah. Mm. I told Dad I could be like the kids today. I could transfer. I'd be up here just living with my grandparents. I'd be just fine. Yeah. They said, nope, you're going to Buffalo. You're staying home, you're going to Buffalo. That's where I went.
Then ended up living in Winfield.
Lived in Nitro.
Everywhere Buffalo.
But that's where I am today. I'm almost 83 years old, and the Lord has blessed me, my goodness, be where I grew up and to be around the people I grew up around. There's nothing any better than, as I say all the time, it's nothing like being born in the United States of America. Mm-hmm. Better than that, I'm born in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Better than that, I was born in Putnam County. Yeah. Better than that, I was born in Bancroft.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. That's me. That's who I am.
That's great.
Yeah. I like that. You're talking about being born here. I think that when if we look at life, God intentionally places us where I think that we can impact our sphere. Pastor talks about the sphere, and I know that like a lot of people look down on West Virginia, like we're the worst of everything good. and number one at everything bad. But, you know, the Bible talks about that the Lord calls us Hephzibah. And Hephzibah means the one that he delights in. And he says, and your land is Beulah. And we always sing of a Beulah land like it's a land that's somewhere else, but really Beulah land, he's declaring, is the land that we're in right here, you know. And so, you know, you can call West Virginia whatever you want to, and you can call Bancroft whatever you want to, but God says, I'm married to it.
That's
you
right.
know, he says, I delight in you, you know. So whatever you want to throw shade on us, all you want, God says, man, I delight in you. So I love that. I love that.
I pray all the time, Lord, don't ask me to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be disobedient, and I don't want to leave. So just don't ask me to go anywhere else.
We don't like change, do we?
That's right. So you've talked about a little bit about the old days. So you were born in 43.
43.
The church started in 39.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go a little bit into the very first days of the church?
Church, how it started, how it got together, but it was back in the day, in the late 30s. R.L. Gibson, Simon Crago, a guy named Carl Pickens, Truman Wilkerson, Richard Workman. A lot of the guys were part of the Church of God, Wyoming Area Churches of God. And nothing against Wyoming Area Church of God. They're great people. Still a few of those churches still around. But they had set down some edicts that said that you could only use licensed ministers in your pulpit. You couldn't just bring anybody into your pulpit. You had to use licensed Church of God ministers in your pulpit. They started to assess them a little bit of more money than what they had before, and they set out a few things like that. So these guys didn't feel real comfortable with that, even though R.L. Gibson at the time was president of the organization here in West Virginia. It was called eldership back in those days. He was president of it. So, but him and Simon Crago, which a lot of you maybe know Simon Crago's family, but Aunt Leah, Uncle Loner's wife, she was the daughter of Simon Crago. He had 3 daughters and one boy, Jimmy Crago. He was married to Marcella when he passed away, and his name wasn't even Jimmy. He used to like a little comic book. This little side story, I guess. He liked this little comic book, and there was a little guy in it called Jimmy. He was a cricket. And anyway, he liked him so well, and that was so everybody started calling him Jimmy. But that wasn't even his name. But anyway, that's a size. But anyway, R.L. Gibson and Simon Crago and a guy named Carl Pickens. He was a minister also, and he lived here in Bancroft at that time. And Simon lived in hometown. But anyway, the old store building was right here beside the church, and there was a road run down between the church and the store building. The church wasn't even here. This building wasn't even here then. But there was in the back of that store, those days they had a feed room where they kept feed sacks for chicken feed, horse feed, like that. Well, they met in the back room. The 3 of them got together, and that's where they met, in the back room. And they decided they was going to start a church here in Bancroft. They had the Baptist church was here, and the Catholic church was here. And so they got together, and they got a little bit of money, and they built a building behind the store building, which is about where the fellowship hall is right now. And it was smaller than the fellowship hall. But they got the building done, and their first service was in March 3rd, 1939 in the building behind the store. And that's where the church started from that. And then they started a ministerial association from that also, and it was called the Churches of God Mission Ministerial. And they were licensed preachers and things, and that went on for the years. But the Bancroft Mission was the first church, and the first ministers was here at Bancroft at that time. And they were in that building for about 4 years. They outgrew that building in 4 years. And they had to build another building, and they were tearing down a company store in Raymond City, the old company store up there. They were tearing it down. They went up there, and they gave them the lumber, and they brought the lumber down here. And my grandfather bought this lot where we sit at now. And they got together and they built a church here, and they dedicated it in it was probably about March of 1944. They dedicated this church. If you see around, there's some pictures around. A lot of it on a plate. And just a group of people standing in front of the old church. Well, I'm in there, only I'm in my mommy's arms. But I was about 6 months old when they done that. So yeah.
Very neat. So that was built with the company store lumber.
Yeah,
they're tearing it down.
Right. Yeah,
I did not know that. That's very neat.
You go upstairs and look at some of the sheeting board. Look how wide it is. Different width, and it's all oak and hickory.
Yeah,
not hickory, but oak and poplar wood, and you can't drive a nail in it today.
That's that old oak.
Yeah, rough stuff.
Yeah. You almost have to drive a spike into it to get it to run through.
Either drill a hole or something.
Those 8-penny nails nowadays won't even drive into it.
They won't even make a dent.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you something, Frank. Dad, he told me that, just hitting on the Church of God Mission Organization, it started out with Bancroft.
Yeah.
Dad one time told me there was like 39 different churches that were connected to the missions. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, because we had they didn't belong ownership. No, we did. They have ownership on very few churches, really. Church of God Mission, but yeah, we had churches in Charleston, North Charleston, Dunbar, Sissonville. There's one over called Second Creek. Lone Oak, Paradise, Hometown. We had one church in Florida.
Really?
Back in the day, yeah.
Wow.
We had a preacher down there. He started a church down there. Yeah, Cecil
cool.
Rogers. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a Free Will Baptist church now. It's still there in Florida. Yeah, it's in Melbourne, Florida.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
That's why I didn't know that.
But then over the years they've slowly dwindled down. There's some of them named there like we're getting ready to get rid of one right now that this is probably a good thing. We'll be bringing for the church up on Savine Memorial. You may have heard us talk about it at council meetings. Savine Memorial. They're getting ready to give it to a homeless group.
Yeah.
Group is going to take care of homeless people. It's up. If you've ever been up on Hannah Drive, you can see where it's at. It's not a big church, but it was one of the few churches that was actually deeded to the Churches of God Mission. So and we're going to give that to them. So that'll happen in the next few weeks, few months, probably anyway. But it's a good thing. It's not like it's going to go into waste. It'd be just sit there and there's nobody not having church there anymore. So
So for someone who's unfamiliar with the mission, can you go kind of do a dive into that as far as its purpose and its founding and all
that? I can tell you what the purpose of it was at the time was to the first church was to place for their family to worship. Yeah, there was a family, 3 men, and actually the first congregation was just those 3 men's family. It was the first churches, but our fundamental beliefs is still the same. That we believe that Jesus Christ was the Son of God, that He came to earth, and as a little baby, and He was raised and lived a perfect life without sin. Then He ministered for 3.5 years. He called the men to preach, and His gospel is still going forth today. That He gave His life on the cross for our salvation, and that and He was rose from the dead, and that's what we preach that still yet today. We haven't changed that at all. It's still the same message that goes forth from here. It's different voices saying it, but it's still the same message. That's, thank God, that's what has followed down through the years. The same purpose and same reason. And the doors are open to whosoever will. And,
that's right.
We've never turned anybody away that I know of in the years I've been here. But and we've helped a lot of people along the way, and done a lot of good stuff. But that wasn't for the name. Then our name has never been something that we want to publish. We will publish Jesus Christ first, and always, never nothing more than that, because He's the purpose for everything anyway. If it wasn't for Him, we wouldn't be here anyhow. We wouldn't have what we got. But He's blessed us here at Bancroft, and I know He will continue to bless because He's God. He's in control. As long as we recognize Him, put Him first, and teach His teachings. I was just reading today in 2 Chronicles, and was it Josiah? I think was a king, and they'd been a bad king before him, but he tore all the idols down, and tore the altars down and redone the temple again and brought it back. And he done good, which was in the sight of the Lord, you know, and that's it. We got to keep that. We can't deny that. But and there's always been, you know, you read in the scriptures, always been good, has always been bad. But God has always prevailed in all of it, you know, whenever they called on him. But Hezekiah, remember Cladis Paxton, so you all don't even remember Cladis Paxton, but he hawked a lot.
As in like,
Yeah. But
he was a hacker.
But he was big on the Jewish people. He followed the Jewish people all the time. But he done a message one time. It was the lineage from Adam to Christ, and showed how the devil tried to stop that lineage, that line from Christ, from Adam to Christ. And Hezekiah was in that line from to Christ, you know, and he was about ready to die. He'd done set your house in order. Isaiah told him, set your house in order, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And he turned his face to the wall and he prayed, and God restored 15 more years to him.
Yeah.
And you know why? Why did God give him 15 more years?
Keep that lineage going.
Hezekiah hadn't had any children yet.
Yeah.
When he got sick, he hadn't had any children. In that 15 years, he had children. And he had a guy, and Josiah was one of them that followed Hezekiah in that line too. And it's just how great God is.
Yeah.
If you look see how, you know, just how Satan thinks he's got you, thinks he's got God, got him tripped up. He comes in another direction.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Step ahead of him.
Yeah, always. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So those original three families, that was the Gibsons, Craigos, and the Perkins.
Pickens.
Pickens.
Yes.
Pickens.
Yeah, a lot of y'all probably never heard of Carl Pickens, probably, but Carl was a good old time priest. I put him in the category as Carl Arthur.
Okay.
Type guy. Yeah, he was a short guy. He was kind of chunky,
Yeah.
but he lived here in the bottom. He had 2 daughters and a son. His son drowned in an accident over on Coal River. Have you ever been over around Coal River? You know, there's Upper Falls, Lower Falls.
Yeah.
Well, the Upper Falls was a big beach area there.
Yeah.
People went up there and swim all the time. That's where he was at. And it had an undertow in there pretty bad. And he got
Honestly,
caught in that undertow.
there's a lot of people that's drowned in the Coal River right through there.
Right there. He drowned over there, yeah. Just a young teenage boy, yeah. But they left this area, and I don't know where any of his daughters are today, if they're still living. They were a little older than me at the time.
So this part of the church that we're in now, that was built in 43.
Finished in 43, yeah.
Finished in
This is
43?
this is the back wall right here.
Okay. I don't know that many people know that now, that the rest of it's the addition, except for this back wall part going out that way.
Yeah.
When was the next addition added? Do you remember that? And the additional annexes and fellowship hall and stuff.
This was built, finished in 43, and we didn't do any more. We're probably in let's see, James Legg was pastor. In probably about 45, maybe 46. They built the 2 rooms right here behind us. It was one big room at the time. Now it's back to one big room.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah. But that was built on, and that's where that was our fellowship hall right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And behind it was a coal pile. That's where we had, back in the day, you had every year in the fall, you got a truckload of lump coal and a truckload of slag. And that was to keep you doing it. Of course, we had 2 potbelly stoves is what we had out here. And you've heard me tell a story about Slam throwing his splinter.
I was wanting you to tell that. Like, that was one of the stories I wanted to hear.
We had those potbelly stoves, and we had a fella that lived, the store building was here, and on the other side of the store building was like an apartment, like Herschel and his first wife. That's where they started their wedding marriage, right there in that building. But before then was Mr. and Mrs. Hicks, and it was Vicky just passed away. That would be her great grandparents.
Okay.
We called her Ma Hicks, is what we call. I never did know her first name, but his name was Ben, and he was janitor of the church here at the time, and I was just a young boy, and of course, he had the time. He had to get the stoves going before services, and I'd help him bring the coal in, and we'd start get the stoves heated and going. And but what about Slim with the sweater? Slim he wore a coat most of the time, like a sports coat.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got happy, he'd take that coat off and he'd just throw it. And one night we was in service, he got half feeling good. He slept right over behind the potbelly stove anyway. But he had that sweater on, and here he was trying to get that sweater off, and he was pulling tug. Finally, he got it off, and he threw it, and that sweater went, and them arms just went around that stovepipe, and that stovepipe was cherry red.
Oh, man.
Wool sweater was gone. Yeah, but that was Slim. But the stove set, one on this side and one on that side of the church at the time. And there was a pew set behind it, and that's where Uncle Ben, he sat on that pew, and Slim McClanahan and Burl Burgess and Mr. Knight, Poppy Knight, Kenny Knight sat there. That's Mike Cable's grandpa.
Oh, wow, okay.
Grandfather. He sat there on that side pew.
Had some green carpet, didn't you?
That was later on.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
I just know
That was an upgrade.
did some work over on the stage, and in here you could see that old green carpet.
Yeah, originally it was just a wood floor. It wasn't hardwood. It was just wood floor, pine. And then we laid floor tile. Uncle Bob Gibson, he was working construction work. He worked for a company, laid floor tile. He got his floor tower for nothing, and he laid the floor tile in here. So that's got tar paper and then the floor tile, and then we went from the floor tile to we go to carpet, to the red carpet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're back to what we've got now. So,
Yeah, I remember the red carpet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the pews the old pews were red.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we changed it to brown. We had to reupholster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Done that.
Whenever I was a little kid, there was an altar in here, and altars on the corners. Was that the original altar of the church?
That went right around.
Okay.
Here. Yeah.
I thought maybe it was, but I think that maybe they took that out whenever I was 8 or 9 years old. But I can remember being in weddings and we'd been here, sitting on the altars, waiting to go out to do the weddings.
Yeah, that part of the church, the expansion part out this way, when we took that altar out, my grandfather made that. Grandfather Allen made that altar.
Oh, yeah.
He ain't carved all that stuff, but and he done all these miter cuts up here in this.
Oh, yeah.
He done all that work. He was a finished carpenter, is what he done.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was a deacon also.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the altar was there, and then I think it was 1979, I believe, when we knocked the wall out and went out that way with the church.
Did you already own all that property? Was this, or was that?
No, originally.
Okay.
Originally, all that we owned was where we're sitting on.
Okay.
That was it. That's the original part. Well, my grandfather owned the store building and all that property there. But at the time, where Catbird's place is at. Well, Catbird came here from Charleston, where he came down here and built that service station and started the service station there. Then there was a house where the upper parking lot is. There was a house on that lot. That was Clarabelle's mother that lived in that house. Hester Wilkinson was her name. And then Catbird's house. And then we were here. Then on the other side, here we had the store building. Then on the other side of the store building was a service station originally. It was a pure oil station. The owner of it was J.C. Saxton, was the man that owned that. And he ran it for a service station for a long time. Then he quit pumping gas and just was a garage. And Michael Burl Burgess worked for him. And then later on, Burl ran the garage. So we purchased, because we had the store building and the lot there. So then we purchased the service station lot there. And up behind here, where the White House is back here, that's Luther Landers and Marie lived in that house.
Okay.
And right here on the back parking lot, there was a house right here at the edge of the drain down through their creek. And that was the Millers on that. Jim Miller was his name. And his wife's name was Renee Miller. They lived right there. That was Marie's mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
And then my dad, when he came back with service, built a house right here.
Mm.
You may remember that, right by where the telephone pole is there on the back lot.
Hmm.
There's
I
a
don't
house
remember.
there. My dad built that house when he came back from his service. And then from there on up, it was just woods until you got up to where Lois Bailey lived.
Yeah.
And then that was all wooded area. And we called it the Pines. There's a bunch of pine trees in there. And then Slim McClanahan and all that on around that way. But there was actually 2 more houses out here, right to where the street goes up.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
2
wow.
houses right there, small houses. And then there was another house up on the hill. That was Paul Miller. You all remember Buddy Miller lived on the bottom?
I
He
don't.
passed away not too long. I thought
Yeah.
you'd remember. You'd have been kids.
Maybe if I saw him.
Barbara and Buddy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Barbara was an Arthur originally. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That was his mom and dad. That's where he grew up,
Okay.
right there in that house. Yeah. But anyway, then we later on we purchased there was a house, and then there was another 2-story building that belonged to Con Gibbs. Then on the other side of that was Marshall's, was a small little house.
Mm-hmm.
Then the big greenhouse down there next to where the motorcycle shop, where the building is. There was we just purchased these properties as they come available to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the time we had enough money to buy them. Like, you know, it was $5,000 or $6,000 maybe for a lot, whatever.
Yeah.
And tore everything down, and that's how we got down to where we are now. And then to purchase the property up here where Miller's was. We got that property, so that's how we own all this stuff around here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we never had to go in debt for nothing
Right.
during all that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we decided to build bigger when Ralph Workman was pastor here then. And it was going to cost us $50,000 for that expansion. That's what it will cost us.
What year was that?
1979.
79.
And Jack Russell was a contractor, and we contracted Jack to do that. And how we financed it was a certain number of people in the church offered to take out a loan in their name, and for $5,000, 10 people went to the bank and got the loan for $5,000. And Buddy Lewis was treasurer at the time, and Buddy made the payments for us. He wrote us a check out to each one of those 10 people every month. Got a check to make that payment. But we paid it off like in 5 years.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah. Can I hit everybody up for anybody that's listening? But $5,000 in comparison, 2026, that's $22,997.
Oh wow, yeah. So
Yeah.
put that in perspective.
So inflation, yeah.
Wow.
If we looked at perspective now, if we asked, could you, sow into, because that's what we're doing right now. We're sowing into, what we believe is the future, of a community center. And, there was enough people, Frank, when you were younger to say, we believe that what God's doing is worth us sowing into it. People sowed $5,000 of their own money into it, and that's in comparison would be almost $23,000 a day.
Wow.
So just to put that in a little bit of perspective,
yeah.
like it wasn't today $5,000. Like $5,000,
Give you a little personal loan for that, But 22,
Right.
that's a good bit of money.
That's choosing. Do I want to buy a car,
Right.
Yeah.
or
Absolutely.
do I want to sow into the kingdom?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took one of those loans, and I was married, had 2 small children.
Yeah.
Had a house payment,
Yeah.
and a car payment.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can remember Dad telling us that whenever he was a boy, Pawpaw Park had an opportunity to buy some giant farm out on Red House Hill, and it was like $7,000, and they couldn't afford it.
yeah, right, yeah.
Like I'd be like $7,000, yes,
Right.
But that was just a different time,
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really, for somebody to make any type of a commitment, time, treasure, talent. That's a pretty honorable thing to do, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
There's a lot of people could do that today.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you take that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thought. It's better than going in. Better put the name of the church in there. That's the
Sure.
thing. That's been always the thing here. We don't put the church in debt or anything.
Yeah.
That's how we came about with where we are today, and it's building wise.
Yeah.
That's where we are in the building wise. Yeah. And then the Lord was good enough to us. We built the fellowship hall, and we've got that facilities over there, and didn't have to finance nothing there. So.
Do you think RL had any of this in mind when he started that church in the back of his feed store?
Probably not what we got today. He was a man that if he wanted something done, he'd get it done. That's just how he was. I mean, if you're not going to do it, we're going to do it anyway. That's how much he was, pretty much what he was. And he liked progress. He really did. A lot of people said, well, back in the day, the church was here, and of course we didn't have air conditioning. We threw the windows up and had maybe a big old fan back in the end of the building there, blowing air out. But he went to Charleston. There's a restaurant up there was going out of business, and he bought this air conditioning system. It was huge. I mean, it was huge. About half the size of this room, about half the basement down there. It was in the basement.
Oh, wow.
It had a big water cooling system. It was old fashioned stuff, but he bought it, and we had air conditioning.
That's awesome.
Nobody wanted air conditioning, but we had air conditioning in anyway.
Yeah.
He went and bought it himself, put it in there. So then
he said, I'm going to get up there and preach and sweat. I'm going to get some air conditioning.
I don't blame him.
Well, he's preaching sweat. He did that. But he then later on, we had some groups that sang, like the Missionettes, the ladies group sang, and he wanted to get a PA system for. Well, he just went and bought a PA system for old-fashioned mics, a couple of mics and speakers. And church didn't pay for it. He just went and got them himself. The people said, we don't want no microphones in our church. We don't need that stuff. But they did. And anyway, we started broadcasting out of, they had a PA system set up and a speaker out over the town.
Oh, wow.
And we did broadcast out over the town.
That was their podcast right there.
Yeah. And then later on, we had a radio program here at the church. I mean, broadcast right here from the church.
Oh, wow.
On the radio. And, the choir was singing, and had a quartet. Had quite a few quartets from the church, groups from the church. But one of the quartets was my dad sang the bass in one of them, and him and got Dorothy Tucker and Dorothy and Herschel Tucker. They lived up on the hill, but Black Betsy and Dave Lett. He was the baritone. They just.
Yeah.
Was that the Mission 4 there?
No, we put their name for it now. I got it wrote down here somewhere. But one of these old papers here.
That is one thing that Bancroft Church has always been blessed with. Singers.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, ever since I was a little kid, there has been plenty of singers that have came out of this church.
Yeah.
Like you say, quartets, bands. I mean, musically, like, God has definitely blessed this church with musical talent. It's unreal.
I think ORL was ahead of his time. I think he, had these visions and saw what the church could be, with these avenues of broadcasting and radio and just little things like that, and sounded like he allowed his congregation to use their talents, and he didn't hold nobody back.
Yeah.
Yeah. The quartet I was named by Dad, it was the Morning Light was their name. It was the name of that quartet. And then you had the Missionettes, and that was Jackie and Rosalie and another Rosalie and Betsy and Merck. And you had the Junior Missionettes, and you had Gospel Generations, and the Gibson Girls, and, a lot of solo singers. Abiding Love, Heaven's Touch. Heaven's Touch was Kelly and Richie Gibson and Missy Allen. Some of those, some of the younger people.
Yeah, at one point in time, you had 2 of the 4 of One Accord because Michael and Kevin was here when One Accord was
that's true.
Yeah, they sang
rocking all over the place.
Yeah. Well, always had a lot of good music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, we had a choir originally, and that was Gay Crago. That was Simon Crago's daughter. She was the one. She directed the choir, and then Uncle Loner directed the choir for a while, and then Uncle Bob for a long time, and then there was Butch Legg for a little while, and Pat Gibson for a while, and let's see, Boyage and Kathy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can remember Kathy directing the choir.
Yeah, Kathy
whenever
used to
I was
do.
a kid.
She had a little junior choir. I don't know whether you remember that or not.
Mhm.
You might have been in that part. I don't know.
I don't know. I might have been.
Paula.
I might have been in there, but I
Wanling
was probably too young.
And Paula Wanling was in there.
How would you try to say I am, Frank?
I don't know. When you get like Carl Arthur used to be with me, we'd go visit somebody and he'd tell him about stuff, and he'd say, "You remember that, don't you, Frank?" For my time. Carl was a good one.
Yeah. Talk about the choir. I remember back when we had the red carpets and all that, sitting back there. It seemed like it was almost like it was just me sitting out there because everybody else was up singing. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically living in Canaan now. I remember singing that and you hitting the Egypt behind part. And man, I felt like I was crossing over the Jordan River right there. Right there. It's like, man, we're Egypt's behind us right now.
Yeah.
That'll stick with me the rest of my life.
The choir was a very important part of the church for a long time, and just not today. There's churches you go to today. There's very few choirs anymore, and people don't. Well, back in the day, when I was a kid, every year we'd have a music school for like 2 weeks of music school. And it was rudiments of music. You learned the shape notes and do re mi's, and the guy would come in and teach for 2 weeks. Just on music school. And so and for years, it was always amazing to me because Bancroft always, whenever their choir sang it 4 parts.
Yeah.
A lot of choirs, they just say everybody sings the lead part.
Yeah.
But Bancroft always sang the 4 parts.
Yeah.
And that was a very important thing. So Uncle Bob was great at that. He could pick up a songbook. He had perfect pitch. You give me a key of C or whatever, he'd give it to you.
Yeah.
And he'd go out of town, worked with him some construction work, and he took his choir songbook with him every time we went out of town somewhere to stay, and you can hear him at night, do re mi, and the whole lot. Learn a new song.
Wow.
Yeah, that shape notes, that's something that's not taught
Nobody
anywhere now.
I don't even know what shape notes are.
Our hymnals have it. Our hymnal still has shape notes. Those songs are just zeros everywhere. The shape notes are like the flag, like a flag.
Okay.
And then you got the diamond.
So maybe I just don't know what they're called.
You got the diamond, and
If the triangle is the key of the song, that's the only thing I know about shape notes.
Yeah. But you learn those.
Like hitting on, like how the choir was like kind of a signature part of service to where we're at, where choirs just don't seem to be as much a signature part of a lot of our services now. Like, how have you seen the church from your youth to where we're at now transition from
mode of worship, type of worship?
In I don't know, every aspect that you kind of watched, how it's kind of, because we talk about the methods change, but the principles don't, right? We've seen methods come and go, but the focal points, those foundational principles don't ever change. Like, how have you kind of watched it, obviously, over, 81 years? I mean, I know you don't probably remember the first 3 or 4 years, but
No.
If you're like me, you don't, because
I go back to a lot of stuff, but the way it's set up with our type of worship, like it has been for all of our years, was you come in and you sit down and you usually sing a congregational song that's for everybody that you get settled in, settle into the service, and we're now ready to worship.
Mm-hmm.
We sing a hymn, and we're ready for worship, and then you maybe have a prayer of some kind that hasn't changed, it's still the way it was, and then you'll go from the devotional leader will give a little story tell or something. He opens up the service a little bit, and then maybe you'll go into the singing part. And we always gathered around the altar, which we're still doing that a lot for prayer. But then you call the choir up. Well, today you call the praise team up. So that hasn't really changed. That's still, you're there to sing and to lift up the Lord, try to lift up the people. That's your purpose. That's what you're trying to do. But you're not there to entertain. You're there to lift up. And that hasn't changed anything. The type of songs maybe have changed. And the type of music may have changed some, but do I think R.L. Gibson would approve of what the type of music? Maybe not totally. Would he object to the instruments? No.
Yeah.
He wanted the instruments.
Yeah.
And I believe biblically that all the instruments should be used. If you've got an instrument, they did in the Old Testament. That was a big part of it. I've just been reading the Chronicles. It seemed like whenever they took over and turned everything back to the Lord, brought everybody back into the temple. That was one of the number one things was the music. And it was the psaltery, the harp, everything, all the instruments played. And the choir, they had choirs and singers that would sing, lifting up the name. So we really haven't, the type maybe have changed, but the method hasn't changed. It's still the same.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at, I'm an older person. If you ask me what type of music I like Southern gospel. The 4-part harmony, male quartet. Now, that's my favorite. That's what I like.
I mean, here in 40 years, there might be some music in here that I'm like, what is happening right now? Or it might even revert back to, and I'll be like, what? we're going back to the old days.
When I was young, when I was a young teenager, we used to go to Charleston Civic Center, see the Statesman Quartet, the Blackwood Brothers, the old quartets. And the people here, the older people here, we had a quartet come in here. Squire Parsons, you remember Squire Parsons? Bar sang with the Cavalryman Quartet. We had the Cavalryman come sing. The older folks didn't like that. That's too much like country music, like gospel, like rock and roll. It's too much like rock and roll. But that's the type of music I like. And so today, if I'm going to criticize, if the words are there, if you're lifting up the name of Jesus, if the gospel's in it, why would I kick it? I don't like rap, but I guess some rap is good. If the message is there, hey. I may not get it, but whatever.
There's some pretty good Christian rap right now. I don't listen to a whole lot of Christian rap, but I have heard some pretty good lyrically Christian rap songs.
Again, I think today it's just like it was 30, 40 years ago. The words is what's there. It's not just, the music makes it sound good, makes it pleasing to the ear. But if there's no message in it, then it's just a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal.
Well, I know, like, we've gone to like the Winter Jams, and every year Winter Jam, they've got a very diverse group of people that come in. Sometimes they'll bring rappers in. Sometimes they kind of bring a pop style, but they always usually bring in kind of like a more heavy metal Christian group. And I always grew up whenever, like, I'd work out and stuff like that, listening to rock music, it kind of like got my blood really going. I was wanting to like lift some weights and work out really hard, listen to that heavy metal music. But the lyrics of the heavy metal music were pretty atrocious, And like went to Winter Jam one year, saw, a band named Skillet, and, they got some heavy metal music, but lyrically it is all directed towards lifting up, God or at least inspirational.
Sure.
And I talked to some guys that were like, man, I can't get into, the Skillets and the Disciples. And I'm like, dude, did you not like rock music when you were a kid? Yeah. I'm like, well, you don't have to like literally go into worship, listen to Skillet and them, but you can at least listen to some rock music and not have to listen to somebody talking about wanting to kill everybody, you know, and wanting to destroy the world. So I'm like, I'll listen to a little bit of Skillet and stuff like that just so that I can like get my rock fix and not want to go out and destroy everything, you know? But like, you know, that's music. Like, have you seen like even the style of preaching and that kind of thing? Like, has that pretty much remained close to the same, or has that been a little bit different from one season to the next, that kind of thing?
We had, we had 12 preachers, 12 pastors, something like that over the years. And you have some that really want to exhort, and that's basically all they do is exhort. We've had some that really want to put you down, and not too many of that, not a whole lot of that, but some of that just happened. And we've had preachers that spit on the second and third toes. But basically, through it all, they've always taught Jesus. Yeah. Jesus has always come out of every message that I've ever heard here. Jesus is it. And that's the message that sticks to me yet today.
If it gets away from Jesus, we've messed up.
We've lost it all. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And we had the old country guys, they shotgun a lot, but take a text and he might be here and he might be there. But it was all about Jesus. All of it was all about Jesus anyway, bringing him back home.
Yeah. Yeah, Dad, he told me a story about Ralph Workman one time. And he said he was a boy following Ralph Workman around, listening to him preach. And he said they was headed to a church. And Ralph said, "Pray for me, Steve." And my dad was like, "What do you need me to pray for, Ralph?" And Ralph said, "I ain't got a clue what I'm going to preach on tonight." But Dad was like, "But when we got there, Ralph started preaching. And I mean, he just, they say preaching the paint off the walls. And he preached the paint off the walls. Yeah, but on the way there, he's like, "I don't know what I'm going to preach on."
Ralph was a good pastor. Yeah. He was. We had all the guys were good, good pastors. Ralph was one. He cared for his church. He really did. He visited homes and hospitals and do things in the middle of the night and stuff like that. He was just good.
Yeah.
Most of them were that way.
Yeah.
To have a favorite one, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't even ask you that one.
Give us the favorite.
Parker to ask you. I'm not going to ask you that.
That's what they did. That's what Angie did in the church camp podcast to the girls. Who's your favorite preacher? They're like, Chris Moe. Sorry, Adam.
I'm sitting there. I'm right.
You're right there.
They said that. Yeah.
Teach them to be too honest.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, Frank, you touched on it a little bit about this mural we've got here. To me, it's one of the best looking pieces of art I've ever seen. You care to touch in a little bit on the history of that?
A guy named Morris Wilson painted it. It was 1946, 47, 49. And he was like I said before, he was an alcoholic. And my grandfather contracted him, said, "Morris, would you come down and paint a painting for us on this wall?" And so he did, but like I said, he was drunk every day. But Morris never drank a drop. And he was here, I think it took him 3 or 4 weeks to paint this. And I was just a kid, come in there and watch him. And he'd come up here and he'd look at that. And then he'd walk back about halfway to the church and he'd look at it and then go to the back seat. He'd sit there with his head down for maybe 10, 15 minutes. He'd raise up and he'd look and then he'd just stare at it. He'd walk straight to this paint and he'd start painting something, But he was having trouble. See how Jesus' hand is right here? Holding out. He's having trouble with that hand one day. And Luther and Marie Landers were janitors at that time. Marie come in here for something. He said, "Marie, would you come up here for a minute?" And so she come up and said, "Hold your hand out." She just held her hand out. That's Marie's hand.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. That's really cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So did he have something that he was like copying the picture, or he just kind of whatever he was thinking about?
It's all in his mind.
Memory.
He had no picture of nothing.
Oh, wow.
He done this all and he just brought all this out by himself.
It's pretty incredible.
His mind. Yeah, he done all of it.
Now there's a little urban legend regarding that hand there. Maybe you might come to light. It was said once that the maybe payment was withheld or something like that, and to get back at the church, a beer bottle was painted in Jesus's hand. Is there any truth to that at all?
Not that I know.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear. Yeah.
Squash that right
now. So
myth bust.
That's right. So we'll put. I like the other hand story better. Than,
yeah, that was a lot better.
Yeah. Hopefully Tim Bailey listens. So Tim loves telling people that story.
No, I don't think Morse would do that. Morse was a good man. He just was the world's worst enemy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He left here and went to Florida, and down in Melbourne, Florida, and you can see him standing out beside the road down there. He had paintings that he'd painted. And one of the paintings he painted was himself, self-portrait of him in hell. I mean, the flame, flame shooting. It was a terrible picture, but it was him in hell. And I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, I heard that Morse gave his life to the Lord later on, sometime in his life, down in Florida. Maybe went to Cecil Rogers Church. I don't know where it was, but
I hope he did.
But,
I heard that his family has come up before to look at the mural.
Yeah, there was a sister came one time, I think. I remember that a lot of people come here just to look at the picture.
Yeah,
they did for years.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, well, with that right there, a lot of people will be able to see it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. This will be live, so those watching on YouTube can see.
We're doing a fundraiser, and if you want to come and actually see the mural,
charge them.
All proceeds are appreciated.
It's the building fund.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
And this is the main mural. We actually have a second mural. Maybe a little less popular one
up in the attic. Yeah.
You care to dive in on that?
There was when we built the addition, there was they talked about getting a mural for the front, up where the baptistry and all that is now, and they contracted with some woman to paint it, and it really was never really popular, but it's a good painting. I mean, it'd be worth a lot of money for somebody that would want it, but it's sort of not more. This is more real to life, and that was sort of. The pictures just wasn't what we wanted. So.
Yeah.
So it's up in the attic.
Yeah, it is very nice. Have you ever seen it?
I have no idea.
It's very, very symbolic. There's symbolism in it, and
it's in pieces. It's big. They covered that whole front.
Holy cow. It's still up there.
Still up there, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff up in that attic,
Right.
Maybe we'll take a birdhouse field trip one day up there.
Yeah. Be careful you don't fall through.
So one thing that we always do here every Sunday is do a little birthday celebration for everybody. They put their pennies in. I know you've told a story one time. We sing happy birthday to you, and then we sing many, many more birthdays. We also sing many more anniversaries. And I've heard you tell that story before.
While we do that?
Yeah.
Slim McClanahan. Do you all know Slim McClanahan? Arnie McClanahan? That's Jason McClanahan's great-grandfather. Yeah. Slim and I were pretty good buddies, but he was a good fella. He's older than me, but he was about my grandfather's age. But Slim's I got a lot of good stories about Slim. But anyway, he was Sunday school superintendent. And one Sunday, somebody came up and put their pennies in for birthday. And he said, after they sang happy birthday to you, he said, and many more birthdays, many more birthdays. So that's where it comes. Slim McClanahan.
Oh my goodness!
You can't just say many more birthdays. You got to say many more anniversaries too. So that's where it comes. That's from Slim McClanahan.
Oh wow!
Arnie Slim, the guy through the sweater.
Yeah.
Oh.
Attaboys.
That's a name I feel like you hear a lot around
giving us
here.
memories.
Yeah, you see Slim all over. I see Slim all over the place out here, but he was. We were putting this is before built this part of the church was this way. We were putting drop ceiling in out here. We had about 5 layers of staple ceiling up there. So Uncle Bob he was doing that. So we had to put bars up to hang the ceiling down in. Well, you had to go through that 4 or 5 layers of ceiling, push up through, and then the stake went to a joist. Now, remember, this old hickory or old oak and poplar stuff up there. So had to have a couple guys up in the attic tying them wires off for them. So me and Slim got designated to do that job. So we're up in the attic, and I'm on this end, and I'm up here on this end. There, guys pushing the wire up to me. Slim's back on the back end. They're doing something. I don't remember what it was now, but anyway, they called hard, Slim, do this, Slim, do that. Now, Slim had a temper, pretty good one. But when he got mad, he'd throw stuff. And so he's back there. They're hollering at Slim, hollering at Slim. He said he's hollering back at him, hollering at Slim. He hollered back at him. He hollered at him again. I heard ping, ping, ping. I ducked. The hammer come flying back. Joy hitting them rafters coming back to you. But anyway, was one other time we were building on this. Well, there's 2 rooms right here on the back. We were adding those rooms on. Putting siding on them, and the road. There was a road come down through there between the store building and this. You can see it out front where the road come out. But a guy named Peggy Davis lived down a house out that way. Peggy, we tried getting him to come to church. He wouldn't come to church or nothing, but he'd do anything he could to disrupt stuff around here. Well, Slim was right there on the corner nailing some siding on, and Peggy came by in his truck, and he hit that ladder. Slim said, knocked him off that ladder. He wasn't up very high, just a couple of runs up. Well, Peggy just kept on going. Slim threw his hammer through his back window.
That's hilarious.
He's accurate, that hammer, it sounds like.
He was good. Yeah, he was funny.
That's awesome.
We went visiting a hospital visit one time. There was my grandfather, R.L., and Slim, and Edsel and myself with the Charles Memorial Hospital. That's before they put all these additions on back years ago, original building. And we got turned around in there, and my grandfather, R.L., said, how do we get out of here? Slim said, follow me. I know the way out. So we followed Slim. We're just going down the hall, just getting it. Come these double doors, Slim hits them double doors, open up. We're right in the middle of an operating. Nothing going on in there. But we're right in the middle of an operating.
Confidence. I love it. I love it.
R.L. said, we're not following you no more. Fun times with those guys. But you had to stop. They'd stop at A&W on the way home, get a hot dog.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, I'll tell you one more about Slim.
Yeah.
Down in the basement, you've been down in the basement part.
Yeah.
That middle partition goes this way. Used to, I guess it's still there. But anyway, we're putting those partitions in down there. And they were going to put a door in it. My grandfather wanted the door back on this side. Well, Slim wanted the door over here. So, of course, he had to say so. So he framed that door up. Well, he had to go to Charleston. He had that store. He had to go to Charleston to pick up some grocery stuff for the store. So he left. And while he's going, Slim framed it up over on this side. So when he comes back, he says, what's this door doing over here? I said, that's where we want it. I said, no, we don't. We want it over here. You know what happened?
Two doors.
Two doors. That's awesome.
I've always noticed it was 2 doors.
Yeah.
Now you know why.
Yeah. That makes
That's
sense.
awesome.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah.
So going back through the years, we've had a number of revivals and things in the church and with the mission. Anything stand out to you as far as stories regarding those?
Yeah, well, going on from that, not those old revivals and stuff. Yeah, but first revival we had here, it was in 1939, and there was 25 people saved in that revival.
Wow!
And the first year, in the new church, they had 62 souls saved.
Wow! Wow!
Year.
Holy cow!
And then later on, we had some real good ones, but one more that really stood out was, I believe it was in the late 60s, 68 maybe. We had a revival, there's over 100 people saved. It went on for 5 weeks. And that all really came about when Y'all remember Charlie Leach,
Mm-hmm.
and C.S. Leach, Nancy. Well, they had a son, Paul was his name. You probably wouldn't remember. He was
No.
he was a little after Robert Weech and that group.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he comes to the revival like on Monday night and got saved. And then the next night he had to go to, you remember when they used to have Junior Mechanics Lodge play? You all don't remember that stuff. But anyway, they had a meeting over to in Lincoln County somewhere. Anyway, they went out Cold River. You've ever been out Cold River Road?
Mhm.
Crooked.
Yep.
Yes. There's one place back, you cross the creek back there, and they run off the road, went into that creek, and Paul got killed in that. But he had gotten saved on Monday night,
Mm.
and he went back to school the next day, and he was telling people at school about getting saved.
Mm.
Well, then he got killed on Tuesday night. Well, the kids started coming to church
Mm.
and went through Poca High School. Revival went through Poca High School, really. And that one was one of the best ones I can remember. And anyway, Sister Charlie and Nancy, none of them was saved either, and they all got saved during the revival. So yeah,
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it was over 100 people got saved in that.
My goodness.
We go down. It was later on. It was in the early 70s. We had one that there was over 100 people saved. And it went 5 weeks. But we'd go down after service. A lot of times we'd go down to the backwater, and the guys had 4-wheel drive vehicles. They pull them down there, shine the lights out on the water. We had baptized them right after church. For church, yeah.
Very, very neat.
Mm-hmm.
Off of that story about that young man, can we sit here and say tomorrow's not promised to anybody? Is
Yeah.
young, old,
Don't matter. Yeah.
doesn't matter, man, woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's not promised to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anything we can say in this podcast,
Yes.
tomorrow's not promised.
Yes.
Give your life to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Give your life to Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't planning on, he probably thought in his mind that life is just now beginning.
Right.
Thankfully he made that decision,
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, his plans was to come back to church the next night.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
right. It was come to the revival, yeah.
Mm.
Because he was testifying at school about
Yeah.
what had happened. Yeah.
All right, so we have a couple different songbooks here. We have the red songbook. If you're ever in Bancroft, Michigan, underneath your seat, you'll have 2 songbooks. There's a red songbook and a maroon songbook. Depending on what mood the song leader's in, he's going to pick one of those and go off of that. Now, I'm not sure which one came first and which one came second.
Chicken or the egg? The red or the maroon?
There used to be years where we had a little brown, it was a cardboard, wasn't stiff back, it was a paper, like a paperback songbook. And it was published by Charleston Mountain Mission, put it out, and it had 300 some pages in it. It had a lot of Southern gospel songs and stuff like. But the red songbook, published, we used the purple burgundy songbook for a long time before that. But the red songbook came about because you got a lot of Southern gospel songs. Bill Gaither wrote a lot of the songs that are in that book. He's the one. Actually, I think he's the one who published this book. But that's the you'll find Richard Beckner will sing a lot out of the Burgundy songbooks because he does. Richard will bring back a lot of the old Baptist hymns, and that's the old hymns. But and there are some good songs and good old songs in there. But Bert will sing out of the red book because it's Southern gospel stuff, and Chase said it's what they've known mostly, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of good old. The hymns of the church are still yet good.
Yeah.
You need to don't forget them.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of there. Like I told you a story not very long ago about "Let the Lower Lights Be Burning." That's a true story. We are the lower lights. We got to remember that we are the lower lights.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go ahead and tell that story for anybody who wasn't here?
Well, if you go down to North Carolina, like Southport, the place I know is Southport, North Carolina. And we used to go there back in the 50s when we started going down there. And there was an old boat sit down there in that harbor. And it just had a big light thing up on the top of it. And it was not a big boat, but the old timer there was sitting there one day, and he was telling the story about that boat, and it was called, and it was a lighthouse boat, he said. And I said, a lighthouse, what's that? And he said, well, they go out along the shoreline. There used to be a lot of rocky shorelines, and there's a lot of little islands all up and down the coastline there. And said they go out and patrol that. We have the big lighthouse there. But he said this patrols the lower shores, and that's the lower lights. And he said we keep those lower lights to keep you off the rocky shores. So that's what we are. We're the lower lights to keep people off the rocky shores.
I love that. So what we're operating off of is this list of topics people have brought up to me and things that I've wondered myself. One of the big ones that keeps coming up is the church during World War II, which you said your dad was involved, and I know we had a lot of servicemen at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any stories regarding that time?
Yep. Back 43, the Second World War was going on, and we have never really lost anybody in the war. We've had guys injured. Burl Burgess was wounded, and he was in South Africa. That's where he was. And anyway, he was wounded. He lost some fingers, basically, about all he lost. But he was in the hospital, and they'd back in the day, whenever there was nothing more they could do with him, they just pulled the curtains around him, whatever. And my Aunt Jackie, of course, she was home, and she got noticed that something was wrong. Nothing that he was dead or anything, but that he was in trouble. And she came to the church, and the church got together and prayed. And anyway, Burl woke up from that, and he came home. But
Wow.
And that's all he had was lost. He lost some fingers. But yeah, they done told he was dead, gone. But he came back, and then Jimmy's dad, Uncle James, he was wounded, and he got shrapnel, and a bomb had burst over top of the head, and he got shrapnel in his back, and he died with that shrapnel still in his back. He was wounded, but that's the only ones I know of that was actually wounded in serious problems. But there was a lot of them that was in battle. Uncle Loner was in quite a few battles. My dad he was in Patton's army. He was in France and Belgium, part of Germany. Wow. And Delbert was in service. Quite a few of our people were in there. But during that time, they started a thing of lighting candles and writing letters to different men, mostly the men of our church, but also the town of Bancroft. People in Bancroft, got
the women having those candlelight services.
The women would light, yeah.
Not for World War II, obviously. I'm not that old, but for Desert Storm.
We had them for every war. I think we had them. It started in World War II. Then, of course, the Korean War came about, and we had guys. We had Bert Asbury was in the Korean War. Dickie, your grandpa was in the Korean War. Others of our church here members in the Korean War. We lit candles and wrote letters to the people in the service. And right on through it up at the Vietnam War. Uncle James was pastor here then, and we wrote letters to the men there, and different people would. Maybe not just to people you knew, but they give you a name, and you write a letter to this person.
Yeah.
If they're not getting anything. Well, there was a name come forward, and Fuzzy took this guy's name. I can't remember his name now, but he was a sergeant, and he was from California. And Fuzzy wrote him every week. He'd write a letter to him every week. And the church would pay the postage and send them out. There'd be 50 to 100 letters sent out every week to these men. Well, when the war was over, everybody come home. This guy called here and got a hold of Uncle James. He was a pastor at that time and wanted to come here from California. So he came here from California, and like Fuzzy had been writing letters to him, and he would write his wife with him, or his wife-to-be, whatever. Yeah. But they had, during the time, they had during the war and everything, they'd separated and divorced. And they came here, and he wanted Uncle James to marry them again.
Wow.
And that they give their heart to the Lord.
Wow.
Through a letter. This guy,
wow.
Didn't, it was just somebody had give somebody, this church, had give this guy's name to us, and Fuzzy sent letters to him every week.
Wow.
And he was saved. Yeah. got his life back together. So
That's pretty awesome. That is
Mhm.
awesome.
that's probably one of the greatest things I know about the.
Yeah.
And I don't. There's other stories. I'm sure that people touched by the letters that women had. Most of women wrote most of the letters, and but we'd light candles. They'd be up to over 100 candles lit for
Wow.
guys that are in the service.
So that's all I have on the outline. So I'd like to open it up to you. Anything you'd like to say?
My, I've been here all my life, so I see stuff and stuff that wouldn't even be interesting to a lot of people. But back during the start of the church, we had people names like Jim Miller. He was an elder here at the church. He lived right in a little house right here. And a guy by the name of Sigmund lived up on the hill around here. Do you know Bobby Sigmund lives up on Manila Creek? Anyway, Dave Sigmund was his name. Dave Sigmund was the man's name. He was, he'd be some relation to you all probably.
Yeah. I feel like Mama and them.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave was brother to, I think, Maggie's husband. I believe they were brothers. And, of course, Maggie was a dandy.
Yeah.
Your grandma was a sweetheart. I'd love to visit her.
Yeah.
If I wanted you get an uplift, I'd go see Maggie.
Yeah.
Because she's going to raise you up. Pat me on the head. Maggie was a sweetheart. But that's a great story, that lady. What she went through. And they told her she was going, this was years ago. You probably heard the story about that. She had cancer.
I honestly haven't heard a whole lot of stories about Mama Maggie.
They told her she was going to die. She had cancer. And she come out of that and she lived till she was in her 80s when she passed. And this our children were little when they told her.
I mean, like before she passed away, it went to 5 generations with Drew.
Oh wow!
Because you had Mama Maggie, Mama Violet, Charlotte, Belinda, and then Drew. So that was 5 generations all alive at one point.
Yeah. She was something else. She was. If you ever wanted a boost, go see Maggie. Yeah, she'd boost you up. But and there's other people at the churches. We had Mr. and Mrs. Marshall. You may have heard the name, but they lived in a little house right down here. And he was. They were Methodists, and they moved here. He was a retired school teacher, and he came here. He was very, very proper, and she was too. But she kept him under control most of the time. But they came here, and R.L. put him in one of the Sunday school teacher over the Bible class, and he was a good Bible student. But he wanted to give you a lot of history all the time. It wasn't so much spiritual stuff. He wasn't real spiritual, but it was real nice to go visit them. Edsel and I'd go down to see them, and when he got ready to leave, he said, okay, we're going to have prayer. So, okay, he'd say, Edsel, you pray. Well, Edsel would pray. He'd say, Frank, you pray. I'd pray. And he'd tell Mr. Marshall, you pray. Then he would pray the final prayer, and he would go home. But that's just how they done things. Every place you went was a little bit different. But then when they shut the church down and everything down at Plymouth, Carl would go down there he'd go down there and have cottage prayer meetings. If you've ever been in a cottage prayer meeting down at Plymouth, they'd be shouting all over in the kitchen and out on the front porch and wherever. But they'd be all over the place down there. Let's talk about shouting,
Dude, we might start calling our class the Cottage Prayer Meeting.
There we go.
You don't hear a lot of that anymore. A lot of the people shouting. But back in our day, I talked about Mr. and Miss Hicks, Ben Hicks, and Ma Hicks. You can count her for every service. She's going, especially Sunday night service. She's going to be up at least once. And sometimes it'd be Miss Hicks. She'd be walking back and forth across the church, praising the Lord, praising the Lord. She had a squeal, and then Clarabelle might pop up and scream real loud.
Yeah.
And then there was Miss Hutton that lived over here in the bottom. She lived up close to where your grandparents lived, your great grandparents. But and she'd shout. My mom would shout. She'd run when she shouted. Ain't Sybil, she would run too. But at times there'd be 4 or 5 people on the floor.
Yeah.
Especially mostly women shouting.
Yeah.
And then you'd have Carl. You know how Carl could squeal?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
he
throwing
was,
songbooks.
Yeah, that's what I remember from Carl.
Yeah, yeah.
A songbook flying
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
yeah, they used to be, Uncle Leonard and Aunt Lib had a quartet. And Uncle James, he sang the bass. And Cecil Rogers, the guy I told you about, he was a baritone. Really good quartet. Maxine Gardner was a piano player. She was like 16 years old, played piano for him. But they bought 2 songbooks at the time to sing out of. They didn't have a lot of sheet music then, the songbooks. And the quartet had a songbook, and Maxine had a songbook at the piano. Sometimes Aunt Lib would get happy, and she'd shout. When she got happy, that's what the songbook went. Here these guys sitting there with no words.
You're on your own,
They didn't know it
fellas.
all. They didn't know the song off heart. They was, lost.
Yeah.
They just hummed a little bit. But that's what. Those were good times.
Pretty good.
And of course, Phyllis Hickenbottom was our last shout.
Yeah.
She was a dandy.
Yeah.
She still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She was like a little banny rooster. She would
Mm.
strut a little bit.
Oh, yeah. She get going and work her way up to
Really?
the altar, shout her way all the way to the altar,
I
and then
don't-
turn around and shout her way all the way back to the pew.
Well, praise the Lord.
Oh, yeah.
She's good. She's still good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Phyllis is one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of these names just around, and some of them I've only seen just off of the pictures on the prayer wall.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's really neat to put stories along
Yeah.
with those names.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
hit you with a question, Frank. We've got a couple younger guys than what I am, so for a young person that feels like they're being called into ministry, into leadership, like you've done it since you said 21 years old, correct?
Mhm.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot or nothing, but if there's a young person that's saying, I feel like God's calling me into leadership, into form of ministry in my church, what type of like advice do you think you could give to somebody to encourage or maybe some things along the way that you've been like, this really was a cornerstone in my life of leadership and ministry? Is there anything you could throw out there for a young person that's like, I feel God calling me into this?
First and foremost, you know, it takes a lot of prayer,
Mhm.
and that's not kneeling down on your knees always. It's maybe it's a walk in the woods, maybe, or
Yeah.
a drive somewhere. I don't know, whatever that
Mhm.
might
Yeah.
be that you need. But it takes a lot of prayer life to seek God's will, and they need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
They need to talk to
It's good.
a leader that's already been there, not just somebody that just comes and goes, but somebody that's been there for a
Yeah.
while and can give you some insides and outside views on what's going on. But I would encourage anybody that feels that drawing to step forward, because his grandpa Michael Dickey, he fought that thing for 50 years almost.
Mm.
Yeah.
His calling was back when he was just a young man, and he fought it till he was done old,
Mhm.
and not old, but old. But
I've heard stories of him sobbing, just crying after he had accepted that calling. Just, why did I wait so long? Why did I not accept it when I first was called?
yeah, he used to call me once in a while when he lived over on Scary Creek,
Mm-hmm.
and Aunt Rosalie was still living, but he'd call me once in a while, come over. We'd have to take a walk back in the woods, and he'd tell me things, and
Yeah.
just pour out his heart.
Mm-hmm.
That was after he was pastor too, but he just turned his back on it, and I remember one time they lived back before they tore the store building down, and they still was running the store, but Dick and Rosalie run the store for a while, and they lived in what was the old church in the back that was still there, and they turned it into a house dwelling place, and but I went over to see him one night, and it's dark, wasn't a light on in the house nowhere. He was sitting in the living room,
Hmm.
and he said, I don't need to talk to nobody. Don't want to talk to nobody. He said, I said, okay, buddy. He said, I'm just here fighting a battle. I said, okay, I'll let you fight it then. But if you need any help, give me a holler. But yeah, he fought it hard, but he finally did give in to the Lord.
Yeah.
But and that's what happens to you. If you're not careful, you lose a lot. If the Lord calls, I know a lot of people today that the Lord's called and they've turned their back and went the other direction instead of toward Him.
Yeah.
And they're miserable. They'll tell you that they're miserable today because of it. But yeah, I would recommend that they pursue that. Don't turn their back on them. But they do need to really do a lot of praying and talk to. Seek counsel from somebody.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. That's what Paul said, right?
Yeah.
Follow me as I follow Christ. I think we all in any form of leadership and ministry need to find somebody that we can follow as we're leading other people, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even Pastor Jim had Pastor Charles until, he passed away here, a year or two ago. So he's even had a minister that's ministering to him as he ministers to, those that have been placed in, in his influence.
I was, for years, even being an elder, Slim McClanahan was an elder of this church and Delbert Gibson was an elder of this church. And two of the greatest men I know. And that was who if I needed anything, that's who I went to.
Yeah.
I went to those guys.
Yeah.
They were always there. And usually the first thing they told me, okay, let's go have prayer. We'd go somewhere pray together. And then they taught me through a lot of stuff. And really, Delbert Gibson especially was a great. A lot of people talk about Delbert and how mean and how hateful he was. He was a big crybaby, really. Yeah. I went to visit him. Probably the last visit I had with him was he lived up on the hill and he was on oxygen. It was a warm day, nice day. But anyway, we were sitting there in the living room and he was telling me, we were talking different things, and Pearl come in. Every once in a while, Pearl's in the kitchen. She'd come out and she said, did you see so-and-so? Did you hear so-and-so? And he'd say, Pee Wee, get back in the kitchen. So he said, let's go out on the porch. See where the big swing was. So we went out, sat in the swing. And we were talking, and we got kind of serious. And Pee Wee come out with them albums that Tina got, picture albums. Did you see this picture? Pee Wee, I told you to get back in the house.
Oh my God.
It's so much fun.
Yep. I heard that a lot.
He was good. I'll tell you a funny story about him one time. He was back in younger day, he picked on you a lot. He picked on everybody. Everybody thought he was mean, but he wasn't. But we were having we used to do a lot of weenie roast bonfires and things like that. And we had one that was out on the hill, about around Paradise, somewhere out in that area. We had fun. And we built a big fire, and he was picking on everybody. And Joe Withrow and Uncle Dickie got a hold of him, grabbed him. One of them had him by the hands, one had him by the legs, and they swung him out over that bonfire.
Oh, my God.
And he slipped out of their hands, and he went in that fire. He just rolled right through that fire and out the other side. It popped up, and he said, well, that's done. He was done, but he wasn't picking no more that night. Threw him right in that fire.
Shoo! That's awesome.
Yeah.
Never heard that one.
These guys are probably all best friends too.
That's one of those stories when we're all out hanging out. We're like, don't tell anybody that we
40 more years will tell them.
What a podcast.
Always, we had, during my growing up, we had a lot of kids, about like a lot of kids today, and a lot of young people that were in our church, and they all participated. We had a lot of stuff. They're doing a lot of stuff, other than Delbert one time, his dad had a little farm out across lanes there, and he had a big stake bed truck, and of course he hauled cattle in. And Delbert got that truck one day, put a few bales of hay in the back end of it, come down, took us all to Camden Park. Those 4 interstates. You had to go down Route 60.
Okay.
And you had about 10 or 12 kids, teenagers in the back end of that truck going down Route 60 to Buck Camden
Oh
Park,
my!
which took us about an hour to get there, you know.
Oh my goodness!
And those same rides are still there.
Proud times. Yeah.
Yeah, you took yours Kings Island. We went to Camden Point.
We took a charter bus. They had a little flatbed. Hopped in the back. Come on, kids.
But we always had a bunch of kids,
Mhm.
and we done a lot of stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
good. And that was fun.
Yeah.
Times, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm 83 old and still remember it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's still just as fresh. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'll tell you this about Cooney, Donnie, and Mike Cable. We all run together. 4 of us run together. Pretty much, you seen one, you seen the other. And you know how kids were.
Mhm.
A lot of kids today, but we were playing back on Sean's Hill one time, and which we was out there a lot. But we were playing back there one day, and we were probably maybe 10, 11 years old. And Cooney said, "I got some 22 shells in his pocket." Said, of course, we was watching westerns today. You know how the western fire throws shells in the fire.
Yeah.
We decided we built a little fire and throw the shells in that fire. And the fire's about to go out, and them shells hadn't went off yet. So Mike, he's a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
He gets down on his belly, he crawls over toward that fire, and he's still got some other sticks. He's putting it on that fire, building it back up. It's about to go out. He's down here blowing.
Oh my goodness.
Pow, pow, pow. Take it. You got him here. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
And he's got shrapnel in his face, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are we going to do about it? Cooney said, "I got a knife." He pulls his pocket knife out. He digs that shrapnel. So then we do something we're not supposed to do, one of the commandments, you know.
Yeah.
We come home and his mom says, What happened to you? He said, "Well, I run through a briar patch." She doctors him up.
Oh,
And I told you before that Catbird's class, if you were mean in Catbird's class, you had to go out and sing with the little ones on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 4 of us wound up singing, having that fun a lot of times. And then we wound up out on the whipping porch.
yeah.
Yeah, Dad take you out to the whipping porch.
Oh man, it's pretty good. That's pretty good.
But you know, kids can be kids anywhere and any time.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Too often we
Mm-hmm.
pick on them too much, I think. But
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been talked about now how some of the kids we have are a little rowdy. And then I think when I was their age, I was a little rowdy too. And apparently when you were their age, you were a little rowdy too. So
Mhm.
it's just gone on down through the ages.
yeah, I remember we used to have trouble with Herschel and Blow. Herschel and Keith McClanahan. They used to chase each other in the church.
Yeah.
Round the church. And here's 2 elder sons out there. Elbert's son and Slim's son out there chasing each other in the church.
Oh my.
Mm.
But if you keep bringing them, they're going to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They'll
Yeah.
fit right. They'll fit right in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ever offend a child.
Right.
Never offend a
I
child.
mean, that's what Jesus himself said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't you stop a child from coming to me.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you say you can't control them, well, they'll learn.
Yeah.
You keep bringing them, they'll learn.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, you do that at home. You don't let them do things that are going to hurt themselves or hurt somebody or destroy something else. You discipline. Well, you do the same thing. You
Mhm.
bring them to church.
Yeah.
They'll never learn unless you bring them.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of them. Thank
Yeah,
the
we
Lord.
do.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Church is alive.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It is. And there's not much I would change in the church today.
Mhm.
Even though, you know, like I said, been here a long time and been through a lot of different things, but I still see God in everything that goes on. Why would I change it?
Mm,
I don't want to change nothing that
Right.
God's got control of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why we're still going. Because you see a lot of churches now, I know locally, that are, unfortunately not in this, they're not in the same position we are, where they're making decisions where do we continue or close doors.
Yeah.
And so we're fortunate. There's some, the message has never changed from 1939 to now.
Mhm.
That's why I think, that's why I believe we're
still preaching Jesus and Him
Yeah.
crucified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a privilege to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, God doesn't need us, but for Him to allow us to be a part of the stuff He's working on, man, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no greater call.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back today, R.L. Gibson could see what's going on or what's happened here. I don't think he would change it. I think he would be proud.
Mm.
He was a proud man in a lot of ways, and he would be proud today to see what's happened, what's come to this. 3 guys got together and decided to start a church, start a place for their children to worship in,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those children are still here. Those
Yeah.
grandchildren, those descendants are still here today. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what, about 12 years for 100 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's right. We're almost
Cause 3
wild.
families
Yeah.
decided to have a church, and in a room on the back end of a storehouse,
The same obedience that we saw Sunday out of Heather
Mm.
when she raised her hand, that yes, was the same obedience that was in 1939 when these 3 men decided to take that chance.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yep. We would, at the beginning, he never wanted to separate himself. His message was, if we'll work with you. If you come to us, we'll work with you. We'll work with you wherever.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, we had our services on Sunday morning. We had Sunday afternoon was Sunday school, because we went over to Elizabeth Baptist that morning for Sunday school.
Okay.
Then we had service at night, which was different, separate each one of them. But we had our prayer meeting on Thursday nights, because they had theirs on Wednesday nights. So we went over on Wednesday night, and they came over here on Thursday nights.
Okay.
The early church, we had the officers in our church. 2 of the deacons was also deacons over at Elizabeth Baptist.
Yeah.
And they were all here, so we worked together.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. And that's how it all happened, how it came about. And that's what he always preached, we'll work together. Come and be together. And some folks have want to be their own way, their own separate things, do their own way, be in charge of everything. But we had a guy that used to do feet washing, and his name was Ed Brown. He was a deacon here, and he was a deacon over there.
Yeah.
But Ed Brown, he would come. He wouldn't wash feet, but he'd shout the whole time we was having feet washing. And then we had a guy named Henry Zabel. You've probably heard me talk about Henry. That was Etzel's uncle, Etzel Arthur's uncle. He came to live with Etzel for the last few years of his life, but he was a big man. None of you ever knew him. He stood probably 6'3", 6'4". Probably weighed about 270, 280. Big, just a big man. And he wore like a khaki pants, and usually like a flannel shirt, and a tie that had every color in the world in it, about that wide. But he was a Presbyterian, is what he was raised at, and he went 23 years straight without missing a Sunday school service.
Wow.
At church in above Nitro. But anyway, we come to feet washing. Well, he'd go to the back. He'd take communion, but he never washed feet.
Yeah.
One night we was having a good feet washing, and people were shouting, carrying on. Turn around and look, and here come Henry up the aisle. The shoes off, his pants rolled up past his knees.
Wow.
Putting his feet in the tub of water. Then he was the guy I was telling about Sunday that was offered down. He was sprinkled when he was a kid,
Yeah.
And they was having a baptizing, and the grandfather said, anybody else want to be baptized? At the end of it, he done baptized 4 or 5 people. And here come Henry out. He had that pants and his tie and everything to the water to be baptized.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
He had done it all. But he was a good old man. stood up. He'd always say, "Now wait a minute." That's when he started everything. "Now wait a minute," and he'd start telling you what. He lived in Florida for years, and he said he drove back and forth. When he come home, he drove off straight through, and that was an old pickup truck he had, which is 900 some miles home. But and he said one time, he said, "Do you know how long when they ring those golden bells is?" I said, "No, Henry, how long? It's 900 and so many miles." He started singing when he left Florida, and he did
Oh,
finish it
man.
up to West, sing all the way to West Virginia.
That's awesome. It's pretty good. Got anything else, Blake?
No, that's all I've got. I want to thank you all for getting this together.
Yeah.
I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller on this. And
Yeah.
I feel like the Lord put it in my heart to get Frank and to go into some old times, but I didn't have any of the equipment or the or wherewithal or know how to do any of this. And I appreciate y'all putting this together.
Yeah.
You got anything else you got, Frank?
No, I've got a lot of stuff in my head, but it'd take me forever to get all this stuff out. But I appreciate you doing this, and hope some people learn something.
Yeah.
Most of all, hope if somebody that don't know the Lord that can understand that this is a good life. It's the best life there is. Even in your worst days, it's still better than what the world's got to offer you.
Yeah.
God's got good things in store for people. I think God's got a good thing in store for the people of this church.
Yeah.
His people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I want to hit about 3 verses real quick.
Yeah. That's how we'll finish.
We were you brought in the lower lights, and Frank, you shared about the story of the lower lights, and then a little bit later we're talking about the candlelight services, and really got me thinking about some scripture about what the light is. And John 8:12, Jesus says again, Jesus spoke to them saying, "I am the light of the world." Right. In Matthew 5:14, Jesus lets us know that you are the light of the world, talking about us, right? And it says that a city on a hill cannot be hidden. In Matthew 5:16, it says, "In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven," right? I just want to say this to you, Frank, and I think I speak for everybody in our church, like you're 100% a lighthouse and a cornerstone to Bancroft Mission Church. And I appreciate, everything that you've done, and putting up with, young whippersnappers like me. Like, I literally can remember I was probably like 9 or 10 years old, and we had a service where they asked, the old people to pray with the young people, and you came over and I don't know if you grabbed me, but I can remember being like, "Oh man, I'm scared of Frank," and and you prayed over me. I can't really remember what you prayed or anything, but 30 years ago, I can still remember Frank Jr. coming over and praying with me, and that impacted my life. And I just want you to know that just as this word says, you're a reflection of the true light, not giving glory to you, because obviously Jesus states all glory is going to go to the Father who's in heaven.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the life that you've lived, Frank, and it's definitely been a reflection of Jesus Christ, the true light. So I appreciate your
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I can't add nothing to that.
Good Lord.
All right. That's all I got. Till next time. Thanks, everybody.